Fine, that is the intro now, everybody.
No. Restart the intro.
All right. We're gonna rewind it. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to some more Chilluminati podcast. It is me, the host with the most, Mike, also with his friends Alex and Jesse. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hello.
Feels good to be back in the saddle, baby.
Right? And you're not only in the saddle this time, Alex. You're gonna have the reins on this one here as we.
Wait, Alex is in charge?
Alex is in charge, man.
Oh, damn, I'm gonna need a granola bar. All right, keep going.
I am so jacked.
All right.
I'm so jacked to do this. This is one of my favorite ones ever.
I'm excited because
I'm excited, Alex. This is gonna be really good.
Yeah.
but before
You're the Michael Jackson popcorn gif right now.
But before we dive into the weird, because I know there's a lot of people who are really excited that we're going back to something more weird and leaving true crime behind for a tiny little while here. We got to shill. We have to shill. We have merchandise, everybody. Something we haven't talked about in an episode, but you guys were asking for it. We've got a T-shirt now over at theyeti.com/.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's awesome, and it glows in the dark, which is even better.
In like only a little bit of the parts, so it
the
looks mysterious in the dark.
The logo glows in the dark where the words do not. So when you're in the dark, you're repping us no matter what. It's awesome. It's $20 over at the Yeti. You can search for Chilluminati logo or theyeti.com/product/Chilluminati-logo.
And if you work at the Yeti and you would love to send Alex a shirt, please do that because he would love one.
You know what? That goes for all three of us, I think. We could spend our hard-earned money on our own T-shirt, or we could beg for freebies.
You know what I love? Freebies.
Yeah, I think we all love freebies.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think there's anything else for us to shill other than if you love our show, rate us some 5 stars on iTunes and let us know over the subreddit how much you love us. We'll be doing a full-on non-mini-sode shortly thereafter. I'm going to be over in LA with these two boys cuddling up under some blankets, hot chocolate, in the heat wave of LA.
I didn't agree to any of this. No, hold on.
What?
We're gonna
Cuddling
play
up
strip
and hot
poker.
chocolate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can
play strip poker and 1-2 switch. It's
right.
gonna be great.
And then exactly. And then when we get under the covers, I can play footsie with you guys.
But with both of us?
Yeah, you're gonna be on the I'm gonna have you.
He
on
does
the
have
left.
2 feet.
Yeah,
It's possible.
I'm gonna have one of you
It's
on the
possible.
left, one
It's
of you on the right.
It's a lot.
Or we could sit all facing each other in a weird triangle with our feet in the center, and we can just have a good time that way.
Some sort of feet tickle cult.
Right.
Somebody. Yo, Tickled on HBO Now. Watch that right away if you like weird things.
I know what you're talking about. It's the documentary about the weird online tickle videos.
Yeah, you just sparked something in my brain, and I was like, Tickled, the movie, so good.
It's insane. Yeah. Oh, you should definitely watch that. Agreed.
I have never heard of this.
Oh, Mathis,
Yes.
just go. Don't look about it. Don't read it up.
Oh, don't even watch the trailer. The trailer gives away too much.
Yeah,
Just
no.
go in blind, and you'll be like, "What?"
So good.
There's stuff on the internet that'll still surprise me, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Wow.
100% yes.
Interesting. All right.
So today, I thought that since we were coming off of a serial killer story and returning back to the weird, that I would make sort of a missing link story for you guys, sort of the Archaeopteryx of weird stories, if you will, between true crime and weird paranormal stuff again.
Okay.
This is the weirdest case ever. Instead of a serial killer, we're going to talk about a body today. And the thing that's so weird about this case is that you can look at it so closely under a microscope. And after doing a lot of research, I've found that 2 guys really, really have just gone over every moment of this case with a fine-tooth comb. And it's still a mystery. The core questions here are still completely unanswered, even today, as people are still working on this. It's crazy. This is called the Tamam Shud case, or the Tamam Shud case. Have you guys heard of this?
No, never.
I want to say the only reason this sounds familiar is because when we first got together and started talking about what we're going to do with Chilluminati topics, you might have brought it up, and I did some minor looking it up because it sounded really cool, but other than that,
yes,
I don't remember much.
That's excellent. I'm so glad that I get to tell you about this. But before we start, I just want to address the Tamam Shud thing. Tamam Shud is a phrase in Farsi that means like ended or finished or something like that. And everywhere that phrase shows up in this case, it is spelled correctly Tamam, T-A-M-A-M, okay?
Okay.
But for some reason, it is widely known as Taman with an N because, like, at some point in some newspaper somewhere, somebody messed up, and it's still, like, the name of this case in articles today, but that's crazy. It's called the Tamam Shud case, not the Taman Shud case. That's nothing. Just a little PSA at the beginning for people who know about
little
this.
fact correction right up top.
I didn't follow you at all, but I assume you know what you're talking about.
It's just the spelling. Somebody put an N there instead of an M, and I just wanted to like let everybody know that because it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I'm gonna start. I said it was about a body. We're gonna start the timeline of the night the body was found. Here we go. On the evening of November 30th, 1948, at Somerton Beach near Adelaide, Australia. Okay, we're in Adelaide, Australia. This is a place that, like, I forget who said it, but somebody said that it would be, like, the perfect setting for, like, a Stephen King story. Like, that type of town. Like a sleepy beach town. Cool?
Yeah.
You got me?
We
with
got
me
you.
so far?
We got on a sleepy beach town out in Australia where wilderness wants you dead.
Yes. Yes. But in this case, who knows what wants what dead?
Oh, mystery.
John Lyons and his wife are walking home, and they notice a man who is slumped against a wall next to some steps leading to the crippled children's home. That is what it is called. Sorry. And they assume he's just drunk, and they like walk past him. They see this guy just slumped there. But both of them, in their statements, swore that they saw him raise up his right arm and then drop it again in the sand. So at the time that they were walking by in the evening, they saw a man who was, by all accounts, alive.
Okay.
And then another couple who are not married, they were called Gordon Straps and Olive Neal. They also see this guy, and it's between like 7:30 and 8 p.m. And this time, these guys even said in their statement that they joked with each other at the time that they were like, that guy looks like he's dead. Ha 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 ha. Right?
How funny. He is
Yeah.
a dead man.
And that's pretty much all there was at the time. That's pretty much all the scuttlebutt was. But by that morning, the next day at 6:30 a.m., they find him dead by two guys who've got a horse with them. They're like doing some horse riding business on the beach. I don't know what goes on in Australia. And then John Lyons, again, the first guy who like went back out because he wanted to go swimming, and he was like, oh shit, it's the same dude. He's still there. So he like went over there to check it out too. And so they all kind of like showed up and saw the body at around 6:30 a.m., okay?
Okay.
What they found when they looked at the body was like a dude who was like extremely well built, clean shaven, like sort of like they call it like A-frame looking body, like a wedge shaped, like Michael Phelps ass, like swimmer's body.
Incredibly attractive is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
I think he means fit, but okay, sure.
I mean, a pothead
Could have been.
who doesn't deserve to be on the Wheaties box. No.
Got him.
No, so he was like a pretty like jacked looking dude, clean shaven, nicely dressed in a suit and tie, but no hat. He was laying back with his head against like a seawall. His legs were extended out in front of him and his feet were crossed, almost like he was like laying there and he like died in his sleep almost, if you can imagine.
Okay.
Right? He had an unlit cigarette resting on the right collar of his coat, and he also had an unused train ticket. He had a used bus ticket. He had an aluminum comb, which is like not a thing you'd see in Australia so much as you would in America. A half-empty pack of juicy fruit, which like
An aluminum. I don't. Okay, I'm just gonna let you keep going.
the point of the comb is just that it's from America instead of Australia, which is notable. And then like same thing, a half-empty pack of juicy fruit, which like in Australia at the time, it was like very strange to see an adult chewing juicy fruit. Even though in America it was common. And then a quarter full box of matches, Army Club cigarette packet with 7 cigarettes, but they weren't Army Club cigarettes. They were like 7 cigarettes from a different brand than the package said, which was like weird, right?
Weird, yeah.
But nobody knew who the hell he was because his dental records weren't on file. His fingerprints weren't on file anywhere. He was carrying no government ID of any kind, no wallet, and all the labels had been removed from his clothes. Everything had been removed. He'd been like scrubbed. Yeah. He looked about 45 years old. They said he looked like English-ish. I don't know what that means exactly. Like a white dude, I guess. But he was like ginger. And he was really, like, again, peak physical condition. But a weird thing was that his toe shape, like the way his toes like rested, and the way his calf muscles were like really high up on his leg, it looked like they said that either he wore high heels all the time or he was like a ballet dancer.
That is
like
a
that's
very
the only
weird specific thing.
That's like the only sort of type of thing that would cause that type of musculature. It's not like normal for a human to develop their muscles that way, right?
Yeah.
Also, when he went into his autopsy, he has a spleen that is 3 times the normal size of a spleen.
All right.
He also had notable liver damage. And they noticed 2 very specific genetic defects with this guy. One is that he's missing both of his lateral incisors, his teeth. Like, it's like his 2 front teeth and then like 2 sharp teeth, and that's it.
Huh.
Like, pretty like remarkable genetic thing that's different. And then he had another one where the upper hollow of his ear is larger than the lower hollow of his ear, which is like really rare for humans. It's like for white people, like Caucasians, that's like a 1 to 2% thing. Like the upper hollow is actually bigger than the lower hollow. Right?
Yeah. All right.
That doesn't seem important, but it will be important later.
Tell me he's an alien.
I'm waiting for all of this to come together because this is just you're listing off weird stuff. But I don't know how this fits.
Just follow me.
I'm on the adventure. I'm on the adventure. But I'm letting you know that everyone listening right now at home is like, what the hell? All right, let's keep going.
I promise this will be worthy at one point in time.
You say that, and then you're going to be like, and then the Beatles, the end. And I'm going to be like, you got me again.
People love the Beatles episode. People love it. All right. At one point in time, I get so many positive comments on my Instagram about that episode. I'm lying. At one point in time, barbiturates and soluble hypnotics were mentioned as possible poisons that could have been used based on like the things that were wrong with his body. Mm-hmm. But also, that's like a really big spleen, so that's like not really that good of a thing. Also, no foreign substances were actually detected in his body, and other than just like people being like, well, he looks like he was pretty weak and he died in his sleep, maybe. No cause of death was ever determined, and no formal connection has ever been made between the body and the possibly living person that those people saw the night before. You know what I mean? Like, it probably was him that they saw there, like, a couple hours before they found his body, but there's no proof of it, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. But a few weeks later, they used, I said he had a train ticket that he didn't use?
Yeah.
So they go back to the station where he got it, and they found out that like he left a suitcase checked at the train station. Okay. And
so he went there, checked his bag, bought a ticket, and then never boarded the train.
He didn't take the train.
Okay.
But here's the thing that's crazy is that everything in the suitcase also had all its labels removed. And it was checked in at 11 a.m. the day before he was found dead.
See, my initial knee-jerk reaction is he sounds like a government agent of a sort who was caught in the act and had to run off.
Right?
And, like, off himself, more or less, because it's his duty.
Yeah. Super weird.
Yeah.
So inside is a bunch of clothes that have no labels. The thing that they noted in the police report was that there was brown pants with sand in the cuffs, which was weird. And then a orange thread that also only came from America that actually they found used on his clothes that he was wearing when they found him. So it actually is like a direct connection between the suitcase and the man. They found a coat that's only available in America that wasn't even imported. Then a shaving kit. All that stuff's pretty normal for like maybe like a dude from America. But then also there's something that was called like an electrician's screwdriver. Nobody knows exactly what that is, but that might be like an insulated screwdriver with like rubber around it. Nobody knows. And then a table knife that was sanded down with like a tool shop sander into a sharp weapon, and a pair of scissors that was also sanded down using like shop materials into a sharp weapon, and then sheaths for both of those weapons that were made from zinc, and then a laundry bag and a tie that had the name T. Keen on them.
Okay.
Keane, except also it was spelled Kean somewhere else in the suitcase. And I guess they figured out eventually that those were just like something that he bought secondhand or something. So that didn't really matter. So, the point is, it wasn't his name. So according to the station records, the dude arrives in Adelaide by overnight train from Melbourne or Sydney or Port Augusta. He buys a ticket for the 10:50 a.m. train to Henley Beach, which he then just misses for some reason. And then 25 minutes later, he leaves towards the same area on a bus, like sometime later in the day.
Huh.
Yeah. The body, they just like did their best to preserve it. They had somebody come in and make a like bust out of the body to like try and preserve his like living state look a little bit more before the body started to look weird. There was interviews, but no official conclusions were ever reached in the like area of time surrounding the crime. Okay, so that's where it stopped for a while. It's pretty weird case, right? Just like sort of like maybe a spy, maybe something like that. But then it gets weirder. Because after further investigation 6 months later by an expert microbiologist, this guy named John Cleland, first the dude noticed that the guy's shoes were like super polished in a way that it looked like he would never like set foot on a beach that night. Like it looks like he never walked anywhere, which is like kind of weird because of some different eyewitness accounts that were pouring in about people that they saw. But it's also weird because he was found on a frickin' beach.
Right.
Also, this was like the thing that is so crazy about this. Rolled up tight in his fob pocket, which is what they called them in Australia, which is like your watch pocket, which is like there's like your pocket and then there's that small pocket inside of your pocket that nobody ever uses. Rolled up in there
was
a
joint?
tiny... Yeah, just a fucking doobie. This dude was blazing it. No, this dude inside was like a small piece of paper rolled up. And on it, printed, not like written with hand, but like machine printed on it, it said Tamam Shud, which was ended or finished in Farsi, right?
Right. So in a way, like he's done.
Yeah. So that was in his pants, and eventually, what people found out was that's the closing words of a book of poetry that's like really popular, kind of like, I don't know, like that like James Franco book when James Franco put out a book of poetry and a bunch of hipsters like bought it.
I didn't even know he put out a book of poetry. I'll be real with you. I did not know
well,
James
whatever
Franco.
it is. I don't even know if it's a poetry book. I'm just saying it's like one of those books that like it was like trendy to buy for a while. And it's called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Okay, so this Tamam Shud piece is from like the end of that book. And they like started reporting on that, and then after a while, a dude came forward who to this day has maintained his anonymity somehow. Even after coming to the police, he came forward with a copy of the book that he said he found in his car that he shared with his brother-in-law, like around the time of the murder or whatever. And they both just were like, "Yo, I don't know." They just both kind of like assumed that the other person left it in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're sharing a car with somebody, it's like, oh, it's this fucking book. Like I'll leave it in there for a while. But apparently it wasn't either of theirs. They like figured that out, and then they looked at it and they opened it and they saw on the last page that it was actually torn, and the actual like Tamam Shud like line was actually like taken out of that book. And then so they got a paper expert to like compare it, and it actually did come from that copy of the book that he found in his car, which was like a big direct connection. And it was also a crazy clue because the back of their book also had like indentations, like, you know, when somebody writes a note on a notepad, and then they take the paper away, but you can like totally see what they wrote.
Yeah, you could do like if you wanted to like do a graphite kind of trace over a piece of paper, you could see what the bumps were. Yeah,
exactly. So there's conflicting reports on whether it was that or it was just written there, but basically what it was a phone number or two and 5 lines of an encrypted code with 1 line of the code crossed out.
Huh. Okay. See, the more and more you talk, the more and more it sounds like he was a government official of some sort, like be fucking CIA or something along those lines.
I mean, that's what it sounds like, but it also sounds like if that was the case, right? Like, isn't this guy like the worst spy ever?
Well, does anybody know who he was? Did anybody ever figure out who this body was?
Did anybody ever discover his identity?
Yes, that's the question I have.
I think that's the point is that, wait, they did? I thought you were about to say no. See, I don't know where any of these stories go, Alex!
No, they have not discovered his identity.
Okay, I thought you said yes, they definitely did.
Because, like, the only thing I found when doing just while you're talking and listening is, like, in 2011, there's some old evidence pointing that he may be a man by the name of H.C. Reynolds, but there's no...
Yeah.
It never went beyond that. And as of right now, it's ongoing as of spring of 2018. So spring of this year.
Yeah.
Some girl stepped forward and was like, I'm his granddaughter.
Yeah,
so
yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. But if nobody actually knows who this man is, then even if he's a shitty spy, he did a great job because nobody knows who he is.
Well, right. But if you saw a real spy, right, like you would expect him to have like a fake identity, not like no labels. Like that's not a good way to... travel.
I
mean,
maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. But keep going, because.
But here's why I don't think it's a spy. Well, okay. Well, so hold on. So a bunch of people have tried and failed to solve the code. Right. This has never been solved. But enough experts over the years have like looked at this thing, and they agree that at the very least it does exhibit some sort of intentional pattern, and possibly that it even is a Rubai. Whatever they're called. I think a Rubai is the name of like one of those poems. Like a quatrain. Like it might be like a poetic quatrain.
Gotcha.
But because of just like police standards, this isn't like a mysterious part of this. I don't want... Everybody always reads into this type of stuff. But this copy of the Rubaiyat was destroyed a long time ago. And no completely matching edition has ever been found based off pictures. I know somebody found a version that looks identical but is printed on different paper. But part of the problem of this, and why if this book is used as like the key to a cipher, like the thing that's frustrating about this is that at the time apparently this book was so popular that it was like regularly being bootlegged.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So there's a lot of fake copies out there.
Yeah, and also this company that was making these editions of this book, some of the editions were like one book. So it's like super frustrating because it's like the perfect book if you were ever going to try and like, you know, get rid of a book. It's like the perfect book.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the phone number in the back did lead to a person who, for a long time, was just called Justin.
Okay.
It's a woman who claims never to have met this guy. And while many conflicting things have been mentioned about her and her relationship, if any, to this dead guy, as soon as she was cleared of suspicion, she asked for her name to be removed from all official files, which basically took her out of the story for like a while. But before we get to like modern day, I just want to look at like some of the like crazy theories because there's a spy theory. So I'm going to just like talk about what that theory is.
There's also gotta be an alien theory out there somewhere.
Some people have said it. I like went in and looked at the boards, but like what it just boils down to is like his like dubious origin and his weird genes.
Right. That he was a hybrid of the Greys and humans.
Yeah. But based on evidence, like the one good, like strong, kooky theory that I got was this one. And this is like me just sort of like pulling a bunch of theory pieces together and trying to like get one good, coherent look at this theory.
Theory crafting.
Yeah. So this is like all around an anti-spying initiative that was started against the Soviets in 1944 called Operation Venona. And this was an American...
I'm sorry, Operation Bonono?
Operation Venona.
Bonanno crime family?
Bonanno.
Venona?
Manamana.
What? Okay.
Operation Venona. It's an American operation of like cryptanalysts, and they discovered in April 1947, they discovered a major security breach out of the Russian embassy in Canberra, Australia, that was like leaked intelligence, like just radioing it out of the embassy, just like straight up, like secret codes, totally just like got caught red-handed. And it led to a ban of U.S. classified intelligence in Australia for 1948. It was like so embarrassing for Australia. They just like totally fucked up.
Damn.
Yeah. Like I said, though, there's not like an official timeline for this spy theory. It's not like one unified theory, but here's just like some stuff. U.S. Assistant Treasury Secretary Harry Dexter White suddenly dropped dead of a quote-unquote digitalis overdose, which is like a medicine.
What?
It's like a medicine overdose. But it's the reason that he dropped dead of it was because he was identified as a spy from this investigation. And then in 1945, there's another death of a guy named George Saul Haim Marshall, who was found poisoned in Sydney, and it looked like a suicide. And next to him was a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Ooh. And he also was killed by poisoning. And, though no cause of death was ever determined, the Somerton man may have been killed by poisoning.
Yeah, I think I read that actually, that I think poison is their best guess.
Yeah, but nobody really knows, other than that he probably just like stopped breathing while he was sleeping. Nobody knows like what led him to that state. Another important element is that in questioning this woman, Justin, who was the phone number lady, she actually claimed to have given a copy of the Rubaiyat to somebody. It wasn't to this guy. It was to a guy named Alf Boxhall, who's an ex-military guy who everybody thought was the dude at first, but then they found him and he was alive, and he still had his copy of the fucking Rubaiyat that girl gave him.
Huh.
Which is like super weird, because then where the fuck did this guy get his, and why does it have her phone number in it?
Yeah, there's a lot of just like weird coincidences.
Yeah. But the reason that matters to the spy theory is because in 1978, Alf Boxhall was interviewed for a TV special in Australia about the case, and he said that before he met Justin, he had secretly been part of an intelligence unit, though he denied any espionage connection with the Somerton man, and he kind of like tried to laugh it off. Which, I mean, I don't blame him. So, it seems like, maybe the spy theory is crazy, but it does bear mentioning that in 1994, John Harper Phillips, who is the Chief Justice of Victoria, chairman of the Institute of Forensic Medicine. This isn't like some crazy doctor. This is like a real government doctor. He reviewed the cause of death in the 90s, and he said there seems little doubt about that it was digitalis. That was the type of poison.
I was gonna say the poison that they assumed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like the brunt of the spy theory, but there's a few other weird things that happened around this time that are also relevant that maybe will stoke your curiosity or help you guys maybe form.
I'm ready.
Theory. It's also interesting, years after his 1949 burial, they buried him after a while once they gave up. A couple years later, flowers began appearing at the Somerton man's grave after a while. And police like noticed, and they like questioned a woman who was leaving the cemetery at the time, but she was like, I don't know who that guy is. But somebody was leaving flowers there. And around the same time that somebody was leaving flowers there was a receptionist from the Adelaide Hotel, which was actually across the street from the railroad station where he bought his train ticket and left the bag, right? The receptionist came forward, and she said that a weird guy was staying in room 21 or 23 for a few days around the death, checking out on November 30th. And she said he spoke English, and he had a small black case with him, and that when she had an employee look inside the case, he described what was inside as looking like a needle.
Huh. Wait, so the person staying in the hotel, she's saying, is possibly this dead guy.
Either the dead guy or somebody who was tracking the dead guy.
Okay.
You know, gotcha. It's just strange. It's just strange that he had a needle. Like he had a black case with him, and inside it was a needle. That's strange. In 1959, which was like 10 years later, also a man came forward saying that on that night he saw a man in an overcoat carrying another well-dressed man along Somerton Beach on the night of November 30th, 1948. But it's 11 years later.
Yeah,
nobody knows.
Not sure if you can believe what he's saying, but it still reeks to me of like government something of like someone botched it and had like got offed by another government, or he offed himself before he got found out and maybe was thinking he was making other people safe by doing it.
Yeah.
Interesting that he chose the beach. Maybe he was hoping he was going to be washed away in the ocean, never to be found again.
Yeah. Also, 1959, there was an inmate at a prison in New Zealand called Waganui Prison.
It's a great prison name.
Yeah.
If I'm going to prison, I want to go there.
That sounds like a terrible prison. It sounds like they kill you there. Like, it sounds awful. This guy, E.B. Collins, said he knew who the guy was, but he wouldn't say who it was.
That's easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that that's... Okay.
It's just interesting that it was like the same year as the other tip, and it was like, just they didn't know about each other. Also,
right.
During the same documentary I was talking about earlier, where Boxhall was interviewed, a guy called Paul Lawson, who was the guy who made the cast of the guy, like the plaster cast, he like got really cagey, and he like refused to answer the question when somebody asked him if anybody had ever positively identified the body. He got like weirdly cagey about it and like didn't want to talk about it. And so that's like where it was left for like a pretty long time. But I heard about this case again like 2 years ago. So I'm going to give you like the like latest. And this is why I'm like on the fence about whether or not this guy was a spy.
Okay.
Because this is just like too uncanny. So other than this like one police officer who's like from Adelaide, but he didn't really work on the case at the time, but he like worked at the department at the same time as a lot of the people who did work on the case. And since then he's like written a book about the case, even though he still hasn't been able to name someone as who this guy is. There's another person who's working on this case as well. He's an engineering professor from University of Adelaide in Australia, and his name is Derek Abbott. And he and his students, he like uses his students to like work on the case because he teaches them like how to like apply systems and stuff. And they like started off by trying to crack the the code, but he's been getting into all different like aspects of the case. But the thing that ended up being most important to him is that Lady Jeston, again, from the phone number, right? Because her house, just so you know, is 400 meters away from where this dude's body is found.
So real damn close.
1,300 feet. Like, we're talking like you could just like run there.
Huh.
Yeah. She always maintained that she had nothing to do with the case, did not know the man involved, but there are multiple accounts of Jeston, who was also called Jesse Harkness and eventually Joe Thompson. There was accounts of her being like very, very weirdly evasive during questioning and not really wanting to talk about the dude or the case at all. And then when they brought her back in to show her the plaster cast of the Somerton man, she like couldn't handle it. She like freaked out. She couldn't look at it. She was acting like she was going to faint. She was trying to downplay her emotions, though. She was like pretending like she wasn't having a reaction. And while nothing is confirmed, a lot of police officers around at the time said that it left them with the impression that she did know who this guy was and that she was kind of not being honest.
Interesting.
But there was nothing about, like, the police couldn't do anything about it, though, because of the evidence, like, wasn't good enough. And so it wasn't until much later when this professor from his college like revisited this part of the case that anybody really like thought about her that much. And by then she was already like dead for a long time. So he reached out to her son, who was also dead, and found this guy Robin, who was actually born the year before the Somerton man was found dead. So this is her son, and because it's like a much more recent person to have lived, right? There's a lot more about him, but also that's because his job is crazy. So her son was encouraged towards ballet by his mom, and eventually he got so good at it that he became a working professional ballet dancer. And so that was the first thing that made this guy go like, huh? Because if you remember, I said earlier that his calves were like crazy high up and stuff, muscles.
Yeah.
And that like is like the mark of a ballet dancer. But then also he looked at pictures of this dude, Robin Thompson, and he sees that not only is this dude missing both of his lateral incisors, but he also has the same inverted ear hollows.
Maybe it's that this man was this woman's son or brother or something.
Yeah, it seems like this is her kid with this guy. That's what it seems like to me. But this guy's dead. But his kids are alive, and one of them is named Rachel Egan, who was, because he was a dancer, she was completely given up for adoption and like just like never knew who her parents were or anything. But all through her life also was a huge like ballet fan, ballet person. But also ended up talking to Dr. Abbott a bunch and like figuring out this story about like these dancing people in the family, and how her great aunt Jo, because she actually was able to talk to this woman Justin, and like she always got weird about this dude, and anytime that the dude would come into the news, she would like move away. She would like move somewhere new. Like anytime that like the Somerton man was back in the headlines and stuff. But eventually she's talking to Dr. Abbott, and after they talk for 24 hours, right? Dr. Abbott proposes to her.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And she accepts, and they end up having kids together.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, what?
Yeah, they got married one day after talking to each other, and it's fucking crazy. And people accuse him, like the cop that I was talking about earlier, the cop is like, yo, that dude is trying to like lock down DNA. He is like trying to like, this is crazy. Like this guy is like marrying his way into a family to lock down DNA rights for this guy. So it muddies the waters a little bit, like what the fuck ever went down with that. But also like, you know, whatever, maybe they're just in love, who knows. But in February of this year, they were actually able to pull hair.
Yeah, okay.
In February of this year, they were actually able to pull hair off of the plaster cast, and like get some actual usable DNA. And so now they've narrowed this guy's genes down to unique signatures common to only 1% of people in Europe and Australia. And steps are currently being taken to prove lineage between Rachel, this guy's wife, and the Somerton man. And even though they know that much about this guy, they still don't know at all, literally at all, who the fuck he is at all, anything about him, literally any single one thing about him. And they don't know how he died, and they don't know what the fuck the deal is with that code at all.
Interesting.
And like I'm telling you, I looked at this case super close, and I still have no idea. There's no answer at all.
Yeah, I'm left like baffled as like he still screams to me. It's one of two things: government or like just family trauma of just like this woman.
Doesn't it seem so romantic for it to be a spy though?
Yeah, of course, right? You want that spy story because there's that hook, but the more I think like a little bit about it, it's like maybe he was initially gonna run away from his wife and then decided that he was just gonna kill himself instead.
What if he was a Russian? What if he was a Russian ballerina spy who was coming to Australia to dance in the opera, and then he fell in love with a woman, and they had a kid together, and then he got discovered, and so he decided to kill himself instead of getting discovered.
To protect his family.
Yes, his secret family.
His secret family, yes, it's that idea of like a spy falling in love with the locals and all that other nonsense. It's interesting. I do remember you bringing this up again right when Chilluminati, we kind of formed it more or less, and you were like, oh, can we cover this at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting because there's no answer, which is...
we still don't know anything.
Yeah.
Really.
It just seems impossible that nobody would know, especially if he's like a ballet dancer, right? Like, especially if that's really what it is. Like, what is the deal with that? Like, is that just an incredible coincidence that all, like, through 2 generations, there's like this huge ballet connection?
Yeah, I don't know. Is there a book about it? I'd actually like to read more.
Yeah, if you look up the cop's name, what is his name? His name is, Jerry Feltis with a G. Jerry Feltis. He has a book that he wrote about this case that is just like breaks down like every little aspect of it. But man, like I tried so hard to like poo-poo this case. I tried so hard to be like, oh, it's definitely this one guy. It's definitely this one explanation. But I've never like this is that one murder case where you're like, oh, there is no answer. Like their body is there. They have it. It's buried in the ground. They know where it is. They got it. They have no idea who it is.
So weird.
Well, it seems like one of those cold case things, right? Like a cold case episode where someone down the line will uncover something related to this on accident, and it will blow everything wide open.
Or somebody will get married to this dude's granddaughter on purpose. And
yes. Yeah. To lock down DNA.
Of course. Yeah, that is how it works.
I mean, that is pretty weird, though, right?
Like, I think that's the weirdest part.
I feel like
the whole marriage thing for the
that's the weird part for
like,
me.
Well, why? Like, there's just so many questions as to why or.
It is pretty weird. Like, if you listen to because they've interviewed these people before. This is like this is like an extremely famous case in us. This is like the Black Dahlia of Australia. You know, it's like there's like a romance to it in like in the culture, and like they've talked to both of these guys. They've talked to the professor and the cop. And the cop and this dude like used to work together on the case, but then like something happened at some point where they like soured on each other. And so when you listen to this dude talk about the professor, he like clearly is grossed out by him. And like now that I know that this dude like married his way like maybe into this guy's family, it's like there's not really like a good way like unless true love exists. Unless I'm like ready to say that true love exists, there's not a way that I can feel good about saying like, oh yeah, this is just like a love story.
Yeah, it's weird. Fuck. See, now I'm just sitting here. I'm like, well, I just want answers now.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a code. Like another theory about the code maybe is that it's like a mnemonic device code, and so it's like actually unbreakable unless you're the guy.
Oh, interesting.
Or maybe it's like a code that like maybe she knew only.
Yeah, it might be well past the point of us actually getting answers for that particular piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and it's also weird that like 2 main people in this case were able to like be anonymous. Like literally this woman, Justin, was like anonymous for like a long time. She was like, am I a suspect? And they're like, no. Then she's like, well, then I don't know. Well, my business needs to be out in the open. Like, please take it out. Please take it down.
Super defensive kind of thing. Yeah.
And I guess like none of it was ever done like above board either. It's like all like on like gentleman's agreement.
Really?
Same thing with the dude who got the book in his car, which is also like a super weird part of the story because like nobody knows who that guy is.
There's a lot to this that doesn't. Yeah. Wait. Okay.
Nobody knows who that guy is. Like actually. Like this is like not like there's one instance of this story in one newspaper from 100 years ago. This is like
but how do we know any of this information from the story is true then?
What do you mean?
Like if it all do we have the book still?
The book was destroyed, but we found a
but that's what I'm saying. Like every aspect of the story seems like it could be falsified. Like
Well, right, but it is well documented. Like there's photography,
but
of
there's
the
no
book.
documents. Like
There's photography. There's photography of the book, so they know what it looked like, and that's how they determine if the edition is correct. The guy with the book, they have reports of talking to the guy, and for some time, the guy was reported as like a biologist or as some type of scientist or a businessman. But like looking at it, if I look at every source and I like really parse it out,
that's like terrible. That's like terrible police work and/or reporting. If you can say he was a businessman or a biologist.
well, no, that's
like,
all.
if those
That's
are
only in
the spectrum,
newspaper. That's only in
that's
newspapers.
crazy.
That's only in newspapers. In the police work, his name is not mentioned because he asked for it not to be, which is like I guess the thing you can do if you're not a suspect in the crime.
I mean, I don't know the rules. I don't know how that works in Australia. I
guess that's a thing you can do, which like to me makes like no sense, because if you can just convince the cops in the short term that you're not like involved in the
what
case.
year was this again?
This is
he died in 48.
Yeah, 48. So it's a long time ago, and of course,
I guess it was a different time. Maybe
this was like the murder that shocked the nation level murder too. Like this was like this was like crazy. Nothing like this had ever happened in this town before.
It's so bizarre. Mostly because everyone associated with it did the exact wrong thing.
Yeah. The thing that's really weird to me is that this woman like runs from it. And I guess like in the end it could just be like a secret, because like she married somebody else eventually. Like within a year of this murder, she married someone else. So, like, if you're thinking about it that way, like, maybe this guy was never going to be the husband because she was already going to marry this other dude, and it was an affair, and they had a kid, and she pretended like it was this guy's kid. Like, it could be something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not willing to throw out the idea that it's as mundane as family trauma or family problems or whatever, but there's still a lot to the case that just doesn't make sense, like the tags being cut from all of his clothing and
weapons,
all that other stuff.
Weapons in his bags, like handmade.
Oh yeah, like handmade, like shivs.
Yeah,
and
don't forget that,
and
like it's made out of like a zinc. Like there's like the sheets that he made himself out of zinc. Zinc.
It's so weird. Yeah, damn, dude. It's a hell of a story, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, this is so weird because it doesn't fit into any one thing. Like he's missing his teeth. He has like weird musculature. Like what's weird? Like where did this guy come from? Who is he? Why does he have American stuff? Like it's all so crazy. Like other than him maybe being a military guy, what real proof is there that he's a spy other than that he's like trying to hide his identity?
Yeah,
maybe he did it for her.
That's also true. Like you could always think back, like maybe she was always dating somebody else and he was the side piece.
Maybe maybe the weapons were there to make it seem like something weird on purpose.
Or maybe he was planning on murdering her lover.
Yeah, you never know.
Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting though. That's a fucking cool story, and one that I would love to follow actually as time goes on.
Yeah.
If updates come down the road, we should definitely come back, swing around to it, and do some updates or something.
I will for sure let you know if anything happens with this, because I actually obsess over this still to this day.
I mean, again, you brought it up months ago.
Yeah.
About wanting to cover it. So if anything, please, like if anything pops up, we should definitely do like an update like segment on it.
Yeah, I really
awesome.
I really like would love to hear what you guys think about it too. Like there's a big rabbit hole to go down. Like this professor, he has all sorts of resources about this on a wiki that you can like go look at and form your own theories. I would love to see some of you guys look into that on the subreddit.
Yeah, on the subreddit. Let us know what you guys think happened.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Speaking of
what do you guys think? What do you guys like in the end think?
My mind still sits comfortably in some sort of government agent, probably. But I'm grasping at like what else it could possibly be. That's where my mind is.
I'm picturing.
I'm on the exact opposite end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
That I think this is just. I don't want to say a normal murder, but it's just a normal person that's been blown out of proportion as people try to like come up with fanciful reasons for why all the weird things are connected when they could just all be weird things that are unconnected.
Yeah. And if it was like a suicide, like a love-related suicide, and then it became this like huge murder like in the country, and like really what it came down to was you just like totally screwing a guy over who fathered your child or something like that. Right. Like you don't want that to be the like, oh, it was just this shitty lady ruining this guy's life and him killing himself. You know what I mean? Like
that's just sad. That's just a sad way for it to end.
I personally, however, choose to believe that this was a Moulin Rouge-esque love story with a dancer with a small hooker pistol in his garters, and a tale of espionage and submarines and poetry,
and, broken heart deaths,
and poetry
and consumption. I get it, yeah.
And maybe some type of lizard people connection with the teeth.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Aliens, bring in the grays. That's fine.
Yeah.
Bring it all in, man. When there is not enough there to give you a proper answer, fill it in with aliens is always the go-to.
And people do. This is not like a joke theory about like.
Oh no, I know, dude. Anything and everything paranormal is connected to aliens if you just look hard enough.
Yeah,
it's all there. The truth is before you. Well, Alex, that was it was an intriguing story.
I try to zig when you expect me to zag.
I got zigged and zagged. Something that you said though that actually roused something that I wanted to bring up actually. Before we close out the episode completely is, you know how we asked why isn't Philip Carlo made a movie about Tommy Patera and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Philip Carlo is dead, which is why he never made a movie. And something I learned,
are you saying that we can now?
Yes, that's all on us. I guess when he wrote this book about Tommy Patera, he got a threat from Tommy from in prison. And for the rest of his days, he had a bodyguard follow him around and protect him because he was afraid Tommy was going to have somebody murder him.
So how did he die?
He had a disease. Let me double check. He died from a disease.
Was it radiation poisoning?
Yeah, Carlo, author. Yeah, I just wanted to drop that update. That's the reason there was no movie, by the way, is because he ended up dying in 2010 from Lou Gehrig disease.
Damn.
Yeah. But so if you have an update with the Tamam Shud case, drop it. We'll cover it like on top of an episode or something, where we can do like a 10-minute. Oh, hey, new information. Let's do it. I'm down.
And I will try and surprise you guys again with another one of these weird.
I'm excited.
Shorties.
We've got the next topic is actually going to be a mix of truth and paranormal as well, with the deaths of some people that we're going to be talking about in a couple of weeks. But Alex, thank you for bringing that dope story, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
Appreciate it. Again, guys, if you want to, you can support us directly now by hooking yourself up with the Chilluminati podcast t-shirt. You can go to theyeti.com/products/Chilluminati-logo. It brings you right to the purchasing of our new t-shirt. And if you guys like that stuff, we'll throw out more stuff. The logo that we have just fits perfectly as all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So
hey,
we'll see what we can do with that.
It's a good shirt.
It is a good shirt.
It's a good shirt.
The Mickey Mouse murderer has returned.
Yeah.
and Dr. Girlfriend.
Put it on your body.
So I can chop off your limbs and bury them in a suitcase.
Put it on
no,
your
but for real though, Tommy, I think I respect you. Please don't come get me.
Yeah, no.
You're innocent, Tommy. You're innocent, man. Damn.
You know what?
No, Tommy, I don't think you're innocent. I think you did a great. You're awesome. I think you got every single one of those people. You're so talented. Please don't add me to the list.
I, however, think you're a monster and deserve to rot in prison for the rest of your life. So, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Chilluminati. We'll be back in about a week or two with our next topic on the book that we're going to be recording, hopefully, while I'm down in LA saying hi to these fools. They're so excited that I'm visiting. You can hear it in their voice.
Woo!
And thank you. Appreciate it. We'll be back soon. Make sure if you're listening on iTunes, drop us a 5-star rating. Let everybody know that you love us. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hell yeah, bye.
Bye.